Yeah, how's that going? There we go. All right. Hello everyone. Thank you so much for coming to one of our training sessions. Hi Mary, good to see you. We're really excited to be hosting these sessions for the primary and secondary schools that are part of our book gifting programs this year and last year. This next couple of weeks we are going to be doing sessions on promoting books on Squelga, promoting a reading culture at home, encouraging reluctant readers, and we are also going to be doing workshops on library management over the next few weeks. So we're really looking forward to hosting all of those with you. For today, we're going to start with Claire Marie Dunn, who is going to do a workshop on Irish language books. We're really looking forward to it. Claire is the I suppose utmost expert when it comes to all things children's books on Squelga, so really looking forward to hearing all the information that she has to give us. A bit of quick housekeeping. I'm going to ask everyone to please turn off your microphones if you haven't already, just so we can make sure there's no disruptions, and you are welcome to leave your camera on or off, whatever you are more comfortable with. There is no pressure. And lastly, to let you know that this session is being recorded and will be put online afterwards for anyone who wants to listen back or who isn't able to attend this afternoon. So I'm not going to chat anymore. I'm going to pass you over to the very capable hands of Claire.
Thanks very much, Ruth. Garmina Magat, agus Garmina Magisha, us chaps on Shot on Pranona. Delighted to see there are other people who are really excited about getting children and young people reading in Irish. I know from Owen, anyway, we have a primary school teacher here already. I wonder would the other people just put into the chat with your primary or secondary, just so I can know kind of how to pitch some of the ideas. Just see how many, if the chat function is enabled, is it? Secondary school, okay, good to know. Primary. Okay, well, we know we have both levels represented then anyway. Okay, primary again, one skull. Okay. Is Bernie Glappnet plus is full on Gaeilge, I'm an anchor for the Royal Shin, primary. Okay, so Gio O'Shea, we won't leave you out, although you seem to be the only person in secondary school, so we'll make sure we cover all of our bases and all of the readers that we'll meet during our times. I'll share my screen. Brilliant. So I wonder actually. Fantastic. So I think you always start with what you want to achieve at the end, and that is, children reading for pleasure in Irish. And there are loads of really great books out in Irish, even more so than there was, even 10 years ago. And it's just about getting those books into the hands of young kids. So I base this around 4 key messages. First of all, we're actually always reading in Irish. And I'll go through some of the ways you are reading in Irish in your daily life, maybe without even realizing. The second thing is that these great books that are available in Irish help us learn a lot about ourselves and about the world we live in, and they give us an insight into all of those things. The third thing is we're all great storytellers. We have the potential to be great storytellers, and having good books in the classroom and at home and in our libraries helps us to become those great storytellers. And the final thing is that we read in different ways, and we need to be ready to be flexible and help children choose the ways that they want to read. So the first thing I said to you there was that we're always reading, actually, the moment you leave your house. So you can see some of the things I see in Irish when I'm starting to walk into work in the morning. And you might figure out that I live in Glasnevin because I pass by the Botanic Gardens, Garanash the Lus. We all pass schools where we see things written in Irish School Catriona. When I come in the gates of Marino, I see Institute Idicus Marino. And when we're down in places like the Botanic Gardens, or we look at posters maybe about nature and animals and things like that in our schools, we can often see the Irish name beside the English name. And the Irish name gives us more of the story behind that animal, that plant, or that flower. And that's why I think it's really lovely to read the Irish when you're seeing signs about different things in our environment. And I've just chosen a few that I really like the names of in Irish. The first one is that owl that you see on the Late Late Show, the barn owl or barnyard owl. And the word in Irish that is screachog religa. And it's a screech, in a graveyard. And it gives you kind of an inkling into what people felt like when they first heard this mighty bird fly past them. The second thing is that we make comparisons in Irish sometimes between the shapes of things or how they look. that we don't do in English. So another word actually for an owl is ceann cut, the head of a cat. When you put them beside each other, they're not that dissimilar. It could be cousins even. So we're always reading. When children are walking around the school, seeing signs for Seomra Fórne, Ithacan Frí Vidya, when they're out and about, we're on the Lewis, we're on the train, we're on the bus, we're actually always reading. So we're bringing our reading skills with us as soon as we ever leave the house. If you want to direct children's attention to some of those things, and throughout this presentation, I'm going to be talking about some of these resources for homework, if you want to use them, bilingual resources that get children to do just that. Start to notice all of the Irish they see from the moment they leave the house in the morning to when they come to school or when they're going out meeting friends and stuff like this. And all of these resources will be available afterwards. I'll send them on to Ruth. Also, older children, so for our one person who's in secondary school there, people like to find out about what's happening in the world through Irish. Tuairisc Company is available every single day, or Vifax is a really good website where you can see different pieces of news, and it's operated out of Maynooth University. For younger children in particular, knowing how to use their strategies for reading is something that will really help them when they come across new things in Irish. And this is a page from Scéaltas an Scoil Chutha Fáin le Huairte, which is a resource book that CBI helped with and Marino to get children interested in reading in Irish and to understand the kinds of supports they need to be able to do that. So this is one of the pages from it, and it's an idea from a colleague of mine, Jackie de Bruyne, about different ways that children can go about reading if they're stuck on a word. And this is something that might be nice to have up in your classroom as a choice for children, and just showing them that, like, you're empowered. If there's ever something you're not totally sure of first, there are lots of ways around it. So I'll just focus in on, say, one or two of them. Súil Géir, that you get children to focus on the word and look at the pictures and make sure that they can understand from context maybe what the word might mean. Cóide Cosúla, is this word like any other word I've ever come across before, and can I kind of figure out what it might mean based on that? Then these are things in Scéaltas an Scoil as well that you can give children to bring home. And again, bilingual, the kinds of really positive phrases that parents can use when they're reading with their children. And really importantly, praise. Because sometimes people think, oh, I've hardly any Irish, how can I help with Irish homework? You can help with Irish homework by praising your child, by asking to see their Irish homework, by showing an interest in it. And even just that small thing has actually been shown in a lot of research to impact positively on motivation, just asking to see homework in Irish and praising them when they do great things in Irish. And they're very simple phrases that you can easily build into conversations at home. Mahu, Leonard, who doesn't like to have a bit of praise regardless of the language? I'm going to look now at where you'll go to get books. And I have to say, we're really indebted to Children's Books Ireland for all of the reading guides and advice that they give out about the reading lists and themed lists in particular, if you're looking to focus in on something like, inclusion or refugees. There are lots of really good themed lists. So there in the middle, the reading guides on the CBI website, that's a really good place to start, to look at the reading guides, the reading lists, the activity packs, the class weeks. We're going to do that today. This book that I keep mentioning, Scéaltas an Scoil Chutha Fáin le Huairte, is available for free on the COG website, but I'll share it with you afterwards. Also, Scéal an Lae for younger readers is really good on YouTube, because you can see somebody reading a book and then you'll get a sense of whether you want to commit to buying the book or reading it with your class. And the book clinics, of course, are brilliant too, where children and their families can choose to go at the weekend, come along, meet a book doctor, say what they're interested in reading, and get a recommendation for a good book. And as of only a few months ago, they're available in Irish as well. But book doctors are also, in the English medium context, able to recommend a book or two through Irish as well. I mentioned the activity packs, and what's great about them is that not only do you get a recommendation for a good book or the themes that it's related to, but there also are activities that you can do pre-reading, reading, and post-reading. And it's really helpful for children to do those pre-reading activities to build up their background knowledge on something, especially if you're talking about Irish, that they might know the vocabulary and be ready then to encounter those words once they open up the book. And this one here, Ceiliúradh Teanga ELA, is really good because it has selected out the kinds of words you need to pre-teach, and so that children are really comfortable when they come to reading the book together in a read aloud, or maybe Mark Cuid the Ober Maile. If you want to buy some for your own class, these are the websites that I use, the Irish language publishers. It's really easy to buy directly from them. And their websites are usually done out very easily, that you can choose your age range that you're looking for, whether it's Bunschool or just by actual age. But you can see that there's a vibrant publishing community in Ireland, and it's worthwhile just from time to time looking at the kinds of books that they're putting out. Aveload maybe is one of the ones that's lesser known, but there's some very quirky kind of books with interesting illustrations and storylines. Fota Fata is brilliant for picture books in particular, and they can be used in the little ones, or they can even be used with senior end of primary school or indeed secondary school, because they usually all follow a 3-act structure in their story design. And that's really helpful for any kind of reader to understand, how do you tell a good story? Well, to have your character, what's the character's problem? What change happens to him? What does it look like by the end? So that's a really good one if you want to look at that 3-act play or 3-act structure in writing generally. I'm going to give a shout out though just to a few books that I think are really good and are worthwhile having in your classroom. The first one, Pedro, Refesh na Héireann, and that is a story from the perspective of the snake who comes into Ireland. And what day does he arrive? Only St. Patrick's Day. So he comes thinking there's this big parade and a bunch of people there to see himself. It's really funny. And it's a great book. If you have done Né Pádraig from junior infants up and you have Rang a Cahar and you're thinking, how do I do this in any different way? Well, this is a good book for that, because it's telling it from a slightly different perspective. Inishmara is a great book for kind of, I'd say like kind of 4th, 5th kind of class, but it deals with issues of sustainability and local knowledge and wisdom in order to preserve our planet. And it's really funny. Some of the names of the characters and stuff would kind of put you in mind of like Roald Dahl type name schemes. On Slipper Glynn, a bit like Pedro, if you are coming to the same source, this is Cinderella, you might have done something in the Ninon, but you want to approach it in a slightly different way. This is written in verse, and it's really funny. I'm going to show you later some of the activities that you can do based on it. The same as a Buzz Savordi, a great book if you want to look at the plants and flowers and stuff that are around you. And again, it's written in verse form. So these are really good stories, especially for building up fluency. Lífeach Léitheoirt, a fluency in reading, because they have such a lovely rhyme and rhythm to them. It's very easy to understand the prosody in them and to say them with beocht and things like that. The final two then are for older readers, Are Taboo, and there's quite a few graphic novels that are available in Irish now. Some based on Bailey's, or this new series, like 3 of them maybe out so far, and they're really funny as well. Different things that the characters get up to. And they're great for reluctant readers as well, because it's very easy to follow the stories, just little bits of dialogue, and then really good illustrations, and looking how the illustrations tell us more and match in with what is being said. And if you want, again, for Lífeach Léitheoirt or just for Lífeach Ó Bail, they're really easy because you are looking at exactly what the character is saying, and it gives children a chance to act them out and things like that. And then the final one, on Dara Rao, I think is one of the greatest really books that has come out for YA level, and it's kind of like Handmaid's Tale-esque. It's set in this interesting kind of environment where after leaving cert, no matter what age you live in, you still have to do the leaving cert, it seems. After that, you are either sent to college or you're sent to Ferrum Novatus, where you have to keep churning out loads of children. And it's very interesting kind of social commentary and a lot of things that have happened in Ireland as well, and a very strong traveller character, one of the main characters in it. So it's a nice one to do maybe with kind of like 4th years onwards. And when we think of that, like The Handmaid's Tale is one of those banned books at the moment, you know, in places around America, that these stories are still allowed in Ireland, that these stories particularly have always existed in Irish. Even we had severe censorship in Ireland. The Irish versions of a lot of stories still remain. So there's a real fun and traditional aspect to Irish language literature, but there's also a subversive and radical aspect too that's been there since Irish books began to be written. And the second key message I have is that when we're reading in Irish, these books help us learn about the world around us. We're going to just focus in on a few really good non-fiction books. So I think this is a lovely one, Anmhaithe na hÉireann. I learned a lot actually about different animals I come across, but didn't really know much about their families that they live in or what they eat or various things like that. And when we were all very interested in Corel fungi going missing, this was a great book to do with my students, because there is not one, but 2 different types of dolphins. I thought there was only fungi around. And this book is really good for just giving you snippets of information. And like I was saying to you about Scréco Relega or Ceann Cutch, sometimes the description in Irish is just far clearer. So on Dev Cutchin, well, he's common, you know, he's around. Whereas this lad, Bulla Cronach, we had a great conversation about, well, how do you think he breathes and where does it come from and what does he look like? And an activity that's really good to do with any of the animals in this book is this ABC chart, or in English we call it KWL. But what you know, Erodus like a Boalan Folanfleet as Cadadolan made. And this gives children the choice to say which animal or mammal or whatever do I want to learn about? What do I already know about them? So you're activating their background knowledge. What are the things I want to know about them? And that'll help direct your lessons. So particularly for Irish lessons, where a large part is about getting children interested in it, this is giving children the choice, what do I want to know about this animal? And then the Cadadolan May is the part of the chart that you keep returning to each time you learn a little bit more, adding more to it. And this can be a chart that the whole class does, or it can also be a chart that children do individually or in groups, but showing them how much you have learned by reading books in Irish. Now, it's not just facts and figures that we learn by reading in Irish. We can also just learn about getting on with each other and things like that. So these books are also non-fiction, and they're about 6 little friends who go around, and they're very curious little characters because they want to find out the answers to all of these things and work together to do that. So they really want to know, why do I fart? You have to read the book to find out. And do bees poo? So they're interesting questions of inquiry, and they work together to find them out. And just like with the other book, you can use the ABC chart and find out what more do you know about these questions, having read the book. Then if we want to know a little bit more maybe about ourselves, the characters in books, they provide a lot of scope for examining traits of people and how they interact with the wider world. I've chosen this activity from An Bosca Léireann, from the booklet that accompanies that, Bíní sé Gléamh. And there are kind of general activities you can do about characters, but I decided to base this one on Luba. So Luba is a book by Alan Tickley, and in it, the character changes into lots of different animals and goes around. And some of the activities that you can do, and you've probably done a lot of these in the classroom already. First of all, writing the profile of a character and talking about the nouns that describe them and what words are used in the book to describe them. But in a lot of Irish books, we also have illustrations within them. So even if you just wanted to get children, first of all, to read the description that the author has chosen for us, and then draw a picture of what they think that character looks like, and then show them the picture from the book and compare and contrast where you're right or we're on the right track at all. The hot seating is a very good one to do for any characters in books, where you're asking the characters themselves to respond to different questions and things they were doing. The twin one is nice after you've done a profile of a character, and then you'd say, right, the active is an evil twin and he's the complete opposite. And it's a good one for teaching, say, adjectives. Can you describe what the evil twin is like, the total opposite characteristics? Or thinking about that character when they're a bit older, character Creama, and do a character profile of this person when they're really old, like 30 or something, kids will think, and have they changed at all? Is there any other way that you will describe them now? So all of those activities are in the Bíní sé Gléamh booklet that accompany An Bosca Léireann. Another one that's in there is to talk about if you have kind of a sensitive topic, because literature for children doesn't shy away from the bigger questions that adults ask as well. And in this book in particular, there's a lot of animal cruelty. So some of the other ideas that we did before about putting them on the hot seat, that's something you can do. Why did you do that? Why did you treat the animal like that? Córa Cowrock, thinking of advice you can give to the character. Or Conscience Alley, children see, and students as well, I think really like that, where they stand in 2 lines, and as the main character, the person role, is walking through, each person gives one piece of their Córa Cowrock, of their advice, and they start listening to it as they're going down to see if it'll change how they feel about it. Cos Shear Clug, turning back the clock, is where you choose a part of the book that's very interesting, and you think about what happened just before that. So if you choose the start of the book, could you write another paragraph that would happen half an hour before that? Or if you like 2 chapters, could you try to write Is Your Cobadile, something that happened in between the 2 of them? And then also, thinking about what would you do if you were in that situation, and reflecting on the character motivations, but also what it would mean for you if you ever found yourself in that position. Some of the great books that deal with these difficult topics, and maybe, you know, like harsher realities of history, like, for example, Black people and people of colour being left out of history an awful lot. This book on Rothschild and Mulhooey is one that deals with the first person to reach the North Pole, but who didn't get the recognition for it. And in the Free to Be Me guide, there's all of these, you know, pre-reading activities, questions you can ask as you're going along, things you can do to follow up afterwards to find out more about this character, what happened, and look at interviews on YouTube with the author, because it was originally written in English, and see what motivated somebody to write this story. How can it be incorporated into your own work? Black History Month, you know, times of the year like that where you might want to particularly focus on a theme. The third key message for us: we're all great storytellers, and we have the potential to be probably even better storytellers if we take advice from some of these good authors in Irish. And the first thing I'm going to look at is how we use words. So one of the things I really like about reading in Irish is this wordplay, Imirta Sfocala, and it's quite common to a lot of Irish language literature. So I've just taken two pictures there from graphic novels, and you can see this kind of play in words. This little Dree is walking around going diddle diddle Dree as he sings to himself, or we're slagging somebody off. Somebody says Moravich, Officer and Agwina Ossel instead of Agwina Usel. And so there's a funny kind of edge to all of these stories, even though they are translations of originally French, I guess, version. But the Irish version is kind of funnier because there's just a special Irish language humour that's woven throughout it. Another translation that's hilarious too is Donal Donna. Pearl Donal is always getting in trouble and up to divilment and things like that. And the Horrid Henry version in Irish. But again, there's a particularly Irish bent in the way these stories are told about little Donal. So in the Scéalta den Scoth, in this resource pack, they are done out by class groups. And Donal Donna would be great for kind of like third or fourth class. And you have questions that you can use before the pre-reading activities, and questions you can ask while you're reading, and things you can do afterwards. And what's great about Donal Donna is that there is a TV series about that little lad, and they could even watch it afterwards. So after you read maybe one of the chapters from the book, that's your homework. Go home and watch it on TG Ceathair, Scientóir TG Ceathair. And because they're done out in short little cabbageley, you just choose one of Donal's events and adventures and read that as a class. Another one for older readers, for secondary schools, the graphic novels that are out, the Asterix and Tintin, and I mentioned Artabu earlier on, or any of the ones that are done about bailage in Irish. They're very good as well because you can focus in on the pictures to help you understand some of the vocabulary with them. You have an insight into very cool Irish humour, but also connects you to this series in other languages. And if you're interested, in later in life and reading them in a different language, you kind of have the background story and you know what's going on. And those resources are available for free on the CBI website. They're under the ideas and activities packs. It's interesting that our whole thing today is about book gifting, because this is one of the key ideas in the Beamy Shiglave activity pack. And I took this idea from Manchán Magan. And I don't know if anybody has ever listened to his blog or to his podcast or ever seen any of his shows. But one of the things he does is this word gifting. So he gets people to take a word in the Irish language, a really nice, a really cool word in the Irish language. Sometimes it's going out of use, and you take responsibility for using that word. So if we're talking about children in the classroom, as you're reading whatever extract you're reading, you choose one word you really like that the author used there. I did it with students the other day, and Shketimini, they loved that word, Shketimini. And they took responsibility then for trying to use that word with somebody else through the day. It was very funny. They were just like slipping it in casually to different things they were saying. For children, you can ask them, try and use that word with somebody in the yard today. Try and use that word with mom or dad at home. Or teach that word when you get home to somebody else so that they know what it is. And then the next day, swap your words. Somebody else gets another word, and you can do the same thing a few times. And Irish is a really rich language to be writing in, because we have these really interesting words. 32 words per field. Imagine, that when we look out the window and see a bit of grass, you know, we're looking at it in a very nuanced way, that we have a particular word to describe it. So Brunton Spuckle is great for focusing children on why the author chose a good word, but how you can use that word maybe later in your own writing. In Donald Donna, that funny book about the lad is always getting up to mischief, the naming of the characters is really funny too. So there's a lot of alliteration. You see Donald, Donna, Peggy, Hussle, Larry gone lucht. Larry's his brother who's never doing anything wrong, as you can see by his name. And some of the activities you can do in pairs with the children are things like this, trying to activate their background knowledge about things like this. So can they figure out what the character is going to be like based on the name of this person? Do you have any nickname? Do you know anybody who's like Donald Donna or Peggy Hussle or Larry Gunlucht, and can you describe them? And there we have a little scene from Donald Donna there, where he's getting a bit angry, thinking about the fights he's going to have with Larry Gunlucht and Peggy Hussle. And you can watch it on TG Carr, as I was saying afterwards, and they're available on the Shine Tour. Reading through these stories gives us a great insight into what the character is like, and it's really nice to get children to focus on the development or the arc that happens for that character. So this triangle, which you can use in lots of different ways, you can use it to show the development of the character. So Erdús, Tasha, Donna, Fear, Gona, Taresh Tamil, Irene Shane, let's use another adjective. And sorry, my screen is actually blocking whatever I said the last one. Fuyera, I suppose, he becomes something else. That Trianthon is a good kind of model to use when you're looking at any kind of story. You can use it as well to look at just the general development of a story. And I've chosen these zombie detectives. It's a book by Gabriel Rosenstock, and the zombie detectives go off trying to figure out lots of different mysteries. The one of the ones is about smell. I think that is the book there, actually. Can't figure out where the smell has come from, so they have to go off in search of it using their magnifying glasses and various different things. And again, using this trianthon, is the Egg and Thús, what happened at the beginning, here to Sprague and after Shen. Taresh Tamil, what did they do? And Egg and Dara, what happened then? And giving children those three pieces of it sets them up as well for looking at things like a 3-act play or 3-act structure, and it gives them a way to structure their own stories when they decide to put pen to paper themselves. Another great thing about the words that are used in Irish books is the fumana. And the Irish language is very sensitive to certain types of sounds, like the sounds of animals and sounds in our environment. And a lot of, like Alan Tickey, a lot of things that he writes, you can hear very clearly the kind of sounds that are going around in the background, thurdan and things like that, the buzzing sound and things like that. Or they're really creative with their use of Irish. So in that book, Luba, that I was telling you about before, the character keeps changing into different animals actually throughout it. But she does that after this kind of spell. So there's lots of fuigasa in Irish. Kailacha, Klopadacha, Blubbly Brat, Wuxum, Ladley, Gubamum, Cot. Not that easy to say, but if you get a lot of practice in with your magic wand, you can. And you can do this by starting with a different sound. So now you say that with, what does your name? So we say Ruth, Ruth's name is the Rylacum, Rupadacha, and go through it again with different letters of the alphabet, just getting children to mess around with some of the sounds that we hear in Irish, in the same way you do with Rowloger, with tongue twisters, to get children having fun with the language and hearing it on their ear. And at the end of books, particularly the Donald Donna ones, or some of the other ones that are got to do with adventures and things like that, there's a note for that reader or for the next reader. So with Donald Donna, and they didn't lie, but the Logia Goira, you are going to bust yourself laughing. Or else they think about who's going to pick up this book next, and can we give them a bit of advice? So Shachan, don't read this if. And they're good books for like the graphic novels that have lots of violence, or some of those detective ones. Don't read this if you're afraid of ghosts, because the character's going to be mixing with ghosts the whole time. Don't read this if. And it's a way of connecting children to the reading experience, and that they're thinking about the next person. And instead of sometimes saying, I had difficulty with this, or I didn't understand that, they can put that for the next reader, frame it that way. So for the next reader, try using, Terma Punk ID for page 54. Bring this support when you want to do this part of the book. And it's just a way of reframing that it's not just that you're having a difficulty with something, but you're advising the next reader who's going to come along. We learn a lot about different cultures and our own culture when we're reading in Irish. So I'm going to focus in on a few myths and legends in particular from Ireland and how they compare and contrast to stories that we have from other countries. So there's a lovely series, the Fotafata ones, that are retellings of old stories. And that's the beauty of stories. That can change and develop depending on what era we live in and the meaning that they have for us today. I was at a really nice Pádraic Colum event where the children chose that poem, Old Woman of the Road, if I remember it. And not surprisingly, when children today were asked to interpret what that meant, they wrote about homelessness and the homelessness crisis. And they were able to see what does it mean for you today. And that's what's happened in a few of these stories already. You'll see at the beginning of the kind of rave scale, the authors told you what they were thinking when they were writing it, how they changed the story a little bit. And the illustrations are just fab in these ones. So for younger children, and yeah, even up towards the end of primary school, those picture walks are a really nice thing to do at the very beginning, where you're just opening the book and going from picture to show them what happens in it. And these are the illustrations from Meep, and I just chose a few to show exactly kind of the snippets of what happens in this story. For older classes, you can do it maybe for an appreciation of the illustration and how they help tell the story. And then one of the activities in An Bosca Leirlinne is that you start by photocopying three pages from the book. And you ask 3 children to stand with the pictures in front of the class, and they have to move them so that they're in the right order. So that's, if people aren't that comfortable in speaking in Irish, that's a nice one first, so they can kind of conceptually this is what happened to Deuce and Shin and Egg and Derek, the same wording that was in that trianthon that we were talking about before. Then you can add in another 2 or 3 pictures and get them to stand in the right way. And I heard Anya say that she actually did it with a class of like 26 of them. And so they had to line themselves up from start to finish. And what happened was probably a different story emerged. Some of the pieces were mixed and put in different places. But that's the beauty of it. That's your own story to tell. We're using these books as a kind of springboard that we can tell our own stories. These graphic novels are actually out of print, but you can still get copies of them, and it's a pity they're out of print because they're really, really good. And for the first time, they actually encouraged a lot of people who were reluctant readers or people who loved comics generally and graphic novels generally to actually start reading them in Irish. The stories that Forbidden Planet, so many people are coming in asking for books in Irish, and said, yeah, we'll have to think about getting them in Irish. And they're the stories that we probably already know a lot on time, Maeve. Relevant now as it was when it was first told, of the futility of war and going to fight with people kind of over nothing. Well, they probably wouldn't have seen it that way, but to let so many people die over just trying to get how and proving to each other that you both had similar assets. Other ones about Nate Padraig, again talking about his journey and things like that. And the illustration, these are so graphic and so clear that they really explain things like the curse on the men of Ulster, why they're allegedly more weaker than other men in the country, and the woman giving birth to twins as she crosses over the finishing line of a race. All of those things are really clear in a graphic novel in a way that they mightn't be if you just read the text. So these stories give biocht and life to the stories again, so that people can come back and read them and reread them. If you're thinking that some of them are a bit out of date or not really that relevant, well, then you could just do this activity, Salah upon UN. So change one thing and put it into today. And some of the things that the students did for me were they added mobile phones. So instead of giving this big speech, Maeve texts it to Ali or WhatsApps it to him in bed, and that's how the story changes. And this activity, Salah on UN, is in Skelton School, and I've also recommended a few books that would particularly be good for doing that. Books that are set in the past, but that have as much relevance really for today as other ones do. And then if we look at some of these myths and legends from other countries, so there is this lovely collection from India, and there's another one from countries in Africa, Nala Oron, the Kirkini. And the same kind of support that I was mentioning before in Shelton Scott are there about the pre-reading activities, the activities you can do while you're reading it, stopping to look at certain pages and things like that. And also after you've read, activities you can do at the end. But what you start to really understand is a lot of these stories at their core have the same values as a lot of stories that have fables and myths and legends, things like that. They were a way to teach people about how to live with each other and live in society. Oro na Kirkini are the stories from Africa, and you know, this one I think is about, oh yeah, where they're talking about different names of characters, and there's stories out where somebody's exaggerating too much, and you have to kind of like think about, why do people do that, what should they have done, and discuss those kinds of questions that are as relevant to a lesson like SPHE as they are to like just reading it through Irish in your Vega lesson. That these stories can be a stimulus for lessons outside of the Irish lesson. If you're talking about your wellness time, if you're talking about circle time for SPHE, you can start from time to time with a book in the Irish language and let the children examine what the character did, what they would do in that situation, if it's any meaning for their lives today, and what the message is for them having read it. I just wanted to mention these few things. If you want to brush up on your own mythology and knowledge of Bailey's in Irish, the Spotify podcast, Blurring Bailey's, is in English, and it's really easy to listen to, and they go through different parts of the year and different mythologies that's associated with that. The Year in Ireland is out of print. If you can get your hands on a copy, grab it and don't give it to anybody else ever. That's a lovely one to have in the classroom, just to know month by month, actually day by day nearly, what is significant about this day in the Irish calendar. And there's a Cormac Agan book in Irish, O Ceann Ceann na Bliana, and that's very similar because they're both drawing on a lot of the stuff that's in Buchas, the school's collection. And that's a nice thing as well, to get children to look up where they're from, if any of their neighbours or family or anybody like that contributed to Buchas Puncaí when the stories were being collected from the 30s onwards. And that collection, Scaethal Hinchins and Gallup by Kevin McLaughlin, focuses in on about maybe 12 or 13 of those stories. And that's a nice starting point to get children interested in Bailey, just reading it and then going back to the Dúchas website and seeing the original story or how many children wrote about this. And why it was so significant that they felt the need to record it and get this story from their neighbours. And on Busca Leralina and in Scaethal Scoth, there are these activities that you can do if you are using Bailey's with kids. So I've already mentioned the Salah on Yuang, or the Rave Scale, where you think about what could have happened just before that to spur those actions. Choose one illustration from the book and put that as the cover. So having looked through the graphic novel, was there any one that you thought actually really summed up this story? We're going to put that on the cover of the book instead. Writing a warning, shachan, the Céad Ella if you want. Or finding a Bailey, just a story Bailey from an Anna Orga or Oro na Kirkini, and finding out, is it similar to any story in Irish mythology or from any other country that you might have dealt with. The final thing I'm going to look at now is that we all read in different ways, and reading is flexible just as human beings are, and we need to be aware of this and be able to support children with their reading choices. So more and more people like to read online. Not me, I still am resisting getting a Kindle, but if you are interested in reading online or listening to stories online, the amount of books from Goom on SoundCloud is unbelievable. So if you just put in on Goom SoundCloud, a lot of the picture books that you have with children are available there, and you can listen to them. It's a nice one to have on if children are eating their lunch, if they're getting ready for the line, if it's a wet day and they're not going out for a yard, or homework that you've read something in class, and then they get to share that story with parents at home by listening to it. They're all free, you know, on these websites. The Ask About Ireland website is really good as well, because they have the myths and legends, and I'm going to show you on another screen in a minute that they have them in English and in Irish. So if you're doing it at home, if you're doing it in school in Irish and parents kind of don't know who Ali are, and they can read the story in English as well. Aesop's Fables on the Laylat's site, or watching somebody reading a story on the Cúla Cahar on YouTube is really good too. And this Laylat site that I just mentioned there was actually my vice principal who put it together. I think it's a really good website for a lot of reasons, but the Scaethas that are in it are really good. So they have a lot of these foul Scaethas or fables in it, and you can listen to the story being read. So it's a nice way to engage children's ears and eyes when they're getting used to Irish language stories. And this is the screenshot I was just telling you about from the Ask About Ireland website, where you can look at the stories with the English version and look at the Irish version. And you can listen to the story being read from page to page, or you can focus in on certain words and listen to them as well. So it's a good resource for people who want a bit more support with pronunciation and things like that before they go reading a book themselves. Just before you all came into this, I was playing a snippet of this to Aoife and Ruth, and they were wondering why Bob Dylan was making an appearance in this. And the reason is that if you have any poems or verse novels or anything like that, if you can pick out the 4 beats in it, first of all, it's very easy to put it to any kind of music. So even with this one, Filu, Chrin Ina, Si Gumuk, Eglana, Auntie, and Colleen. So even if you get children to start tapping it, Filu, Ina, Si Gumuk, Eglana, Auntie, and Colleen. So 3. Eg ober, le, hio, go, dog, Gankara, Eki, Yakugalok. So getting children to practice those rhymes, just saying them, getting lost kind of in the rhythm, clapping it with each other as they're going through it, saying it while bouncing a basket. You need kind of a bigger ball. I tried it once with tennis balls, it didn't really work, but a bigger ball, like a basketball, you get lost in the rhythm of it. It helps you put it on your ear and it helps you remember it. You know, the bards, and if we think historically, how did people remember so much poetry and commit so much poetry to memory and write it all out? They went into the darkness and they got it on their ear first, that they would know it off by heart. And that's a really good memory technique that you can even share with children today. So after I was putting this to the 4 beats, I thought, well, there are a lot of well-known songs that have a very clear 4 beats in it. And and you'll know who I'm talking about, Katrina and Jean here in Marino are very musical. So I sent Jean home with a copy of this book and orders to get him and Katrina to put it to Bob Dylan's Blowing in the Wind. I'm going to play you what they came up with. Songs are very easy to put music to as well, and children don't tend to know them, and so they're very easy to use with a bit of novelty as well. I mentioned that this book is a really good retelling of the Cinderella story, and you'll see the names of the ugly sisters, even smoishy negotiations, like word for a snot and kind of a grimace on your face. The wording in it is really clever, and it's a really lovely rhyming story. But if you're worried that you're not a great singer, you don't have like a ukulele or something to hand anytime you do a story, you can very easily just pick out the beats yourself and do them as a rap. Now, we did in lectures to My Little Honda 50, Christy Moore, but if you don't want to have a big kind of sweaty man singing the song at you, you can also just do it yourself as a rhythm. So I've chosen this book by Anya Glynn, It Was Also Harding, and just putting in a rap with this. It's Mr. Billy Jack. Billy Jack Bill. It's not me, not there's not mill. We check and puzzle, a log, a law, a vlog, a blog, a blog. And it's a very easy way to do it. It gets children very comfortable with the wording of it and going through the rhythms of it and having a bit of fun with it. And particularly when people want to build up oral fluency and reading fluency, poems are brilliant for that because there is a rhythm in it and you know how to say it because of the words that the author has chosen, because of the flow of it, because of the rhyme that you're encountering a lot from line to line. And if there's any time where children find it a bit hard maybe to say some of these lines, You know, a simple card game where each time you pick out a card, you have to say it in this way, really, really slowly. Smish, Billy, back, or that, say it really fast, say it in an angry voice, say it in a happy voice, say it in lots of different ways until you find really your own voice and what way you want to say it. Dice, that's just another way of doing it. Every time we roll a 1, we'll say it this way. Every time we roll it at 2, we'll play it this way. And that's a nice independent activity where children have the words of the poem in front of them and they can roll the dice and then say it whatever way they want. I was with a school recently in Cork and they had a lovely idea from infants all the way up to the end of school. Every single poem they ever did, they had it in a copybook. And that was like their set list when they came to do this poetry slam. So even the most basic Lámh, Lámhbhela, a Hain, a Dó, that can be used again when the kids are older as a poetry slam. And what they did was they chose their set list. They chose one poem from their set list at the top, at the start of the day. They could rehearse it however they really wanted to. And then at the beginning of the day, or from going from lesson to lesson, we had a different poetry slam from a different group or a different individual. And it's a really good way to go back over some of the poems and songs and things that you did in infants and make them relevant, make them like a rap or something for older readers, for older speakers and older readers. And then I'm finally just going to end with a couple of ways that you can get children to respond to stories. So it doesn't always have to be that you're just reading silently or you're just reading out with the person beside you. These are role cards that I have put together with a colleague of mine for getting children, again, interested in reading, but giving them very clear instructions on what they're to do. So the first person on Laoire Líofa is going to read out the piece really clearly, and the Scríbhneoireachtaí Scoth is going to do one of the activities based on the book. So this one is on Donald Donner, where he had to make some rules for Peggy Pussock, who's coming. A variation on that is that there's on Laoire Líofa first, and that they make a connection with their own life. So they read it, we stop and think, does that remind me of anything? Is that in any way relevant to my life? Or the final one there, that somebody writes out something from it. So maybe you have your court A, B, C, and then the Cainteoir Chumasach is going to give a feedback to the class. And you'll notice that all of these are phrased really positively to focus on the skills and dispositions and attitudes that children have acquired and all of the great things that they can do in Irish. Giving a choice is really important as well. So these are different ways that you can respond to a story or an extract. We already looked at change one thing to put it into modern times, but just choose a page and text that character. What would you say to them? Write out one phrase you really like. Find every verb in the Irish Cacha in that piece. And sometimes if you do something like this, they're always going to want us to picture one all the time. So what you can do as a class is, today we choose one way we're going to respond to this, or I have all of these responses in a bowl, I'm picking out one, this is what we're doing today, then that choice is gone. The next day, we're going to choose from the remaining ones, and then maybe say on Thursday for Obair Mhaile, you choose, which is your favourite one, and you can go back over it and respond to the story in whatever way you really want to. So I'm ending now with a new Sean O'Connor and Lua Uckles that I heard Pola Murray say one time. We all know the beginning of it, Baha Changa I Alaurit, but he added to that, Búnú Changa I Scríomh, agus Bláthú Changa I Aléamh. So Gur Míle Maith. This is my email address if anybody wants to email me afterwards. This is Shketamina that we set up in Marino with some good ideas for teaching Irish. They're mostly geared towards our students, but we think that some of them will be of use to teachers as well. So I'm going to stop there and I'm going to hang on for the remaining part if anybody wants to ask any questions about the presentation or recommendations maybe for books for your own class or anything really you want to talk about books in Irish.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Claire. It was a fascinating session as always. I always feel a little bit more confident about going into recommending books in Irish and talking about books in Irish after listening to you chat about them. So thank you so much for doing that. Could I maybe ask anyone if they have a question to turn on their camera or put their microphone on speaker even? If you want to ask anything, or if you maybe want to go away and have to think about any questions that you might have, you can email me at bookgifting@Children's Books Ireland or email Claire directly if you have something that you'd like to ask. But yeah, I think.
Hi, sorry, I have a question. I don't know, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, sorry, I'll shut my camera on. Hang on, there we go. Hi, my name is Natasha, and I have a son that's going to learn Irish soon. I speak, as you can hear, no Irish whatsoever. So I was wondering, what are the help sites? How can I help my son with his Irish homework? Like, are there any websites I can go to? Because when I watch the Irish program, I can't understand a word. Like in most languages, you can pick out at least one or two words, but Oskelta is very, very difficult. So is there any advice you can give for parents that don't speak the language or have no understanding of it?
There's a resource that I worked on for the NCCA, and it's bilingual. Oh yes, no, sorry, someone else turned off. It's a bilingual resource, and I can, if you email me after this, I'll send it on to you. It's 4 sheets for parents of the kind of language they need when they're helping with homework. And you can read it, it's in English and Irish, but you can also listen to it. It's not my voice, thankfully, it's some nice woman in Connemara, I think, who's going through how you pronounce things. But we found that was a nice resource because parents were saying things like, we don't want it just in Irish, it's very helpful if we have an English and an Irish, but then we also need to be able to listen to pronunciation. So if you email me after this, I'll send you on those 4 sheets about things you can say when you're doing homework, games you can play, simple things around the house and stuff like that.
Okay, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Claire. I think that's all the questions we have for now. Is that right? Yep. So we might leave it there. And like I said, if you have any other questions, you can drop a message to myself or Claire and we'll be happy to answer them then. Thank you so much, Claire. And our next session will be next week. I think it is encouraging reluctant readers. For primary schools should be the first one, but and then the secondary school one will be the following week. But if you have any questions between now and then, or any information that you would like to be covered in these workshops, just let us know and we'll be happy to address them. Thanks a million, folks. We'll chat to you soon.
Magav.
John.